Hello there, my name is Stephen Hatcher, reaching out to be considered for the Experiential Programs Facilitator role at GutMonkey. Up top, I would like to make it clear that my wife and I do live in a camper van. We're hypermobile in that way, and so the requirements as far as travel goes that come along with this role are something that we would be able to deal with very easily, but I do want to make that clear up front. We do have a Starlink that is able to give us high-speed Wi-Fi connectivity pretty much anywhere in the nation, but we don't have any fixed location. We're not near Portland, but again, we are able to move around the country very freely. So, right up top, these are going to be the answers to to the questions on the application. The youth center program that I'm most proud of would probably have to be Disney Performing Arts. This was a program that we did during the summers at Disney, where visiting middle and high school marching band students, jazz band students, choral groups, even like jazz singing groups would come down to Walt Disney World and perform for the park guests. And I was a part of the team that would facilitate the marching bands in particular. And this is a very rewarding job because you're able to give these students the opportunity to perform in a professional sense on one of the biggest stages in the nation. Certainly, marching through Magic Kingdom is not something that people get to do just every old day, and so letting those students have the chance to have that experience was always really fun. The thing that made it so successful, I think, was the professionalism and the foundation of that program. It was decades long in the making. It was a program that I myself went through when I was in 8th and 9th grade, and so it kind of came full circle to where I was able to then facilitate other middle school groups come through the park. And that really just speaks to how long the program had been around and how well established it had been. So all of the kinks and all of the potential difficulties had been ironed out for the most part prior to us coming into the season. So that specifically made us very successful. We had accounted for a lot of problems that could have arose and knew how to deal with them ahead of time. So a challenging youth center program that I got to be a part of was called the Royal Family Kids Camp. This was an organization that my church and high school partnered with, where we would spend a week with children who were in foster care and just really shower them with love and give them kind of a vacation away from what might have been a tumultuous kind of home life or foster home life. The difficulties inherent with that is just the kind of behavioral difficulties that can come along with children who haven't gotten to experience a very stable family life. There was a lot of kids that would just not eat. There were a lot of kids that would lash out. There were kids that would be very friendly to you one moment and then call you pretty nasty names the next. And that was a lot to deal with, especially as a high schooler. I do think that the program in general was successful because there were a lot of old pros that knew how to handle those situations. For myself in particular, the thing that I would have done differently would have just been to prepare more for those types of situations. They had kind of a crash training course for us, but I think that I could have done more to prepare myself for the types of emotional kind of discharges that we saw throughout that week. Still a really great program, and I'm very proud of the work that we did, but not a layup by any means. So the modality of teaching that I usually find myself in is a combination of just auditory speaking to students, but then also making sure that there's some actual interfacing with the processes that we're talking about. Specifically, when I was a climbing coach for 10 to 12-year-old climbing students, we would kind of talk about pretty high-level climbing terminology and techniques, but after a brief kind of session of explaining what handholds are or what core tension is, we would spend the next long while with the students actually going through these practices. I feel like any one of the main modalities of teaching gets you a pretty good way towards someone understanding a product or a process, but combining it with other aspects can really boost the amount that someone can understand what is being taught to them. So one of my overall goals is to find new experiences in life. I've gotten to live in a bunch of different places, and I've got to work in a bunch of different jobs, and each one of them has their own kind of set of challenges that I like rising to. During my time in the various facilitating roles that I had, there were difficulties in all of them, steep learning curves in some cases, and I got a lot of satisfaction out of rising to those challenges. So while I am, I would say, naturally pretty good at talking in front of groups of people, I'm naturally very good at taking something from a program and then bringing it to life. These are things that come naturally to me. I do have very little prior experience with this sort of healthcare environment and this sort of restorative type of programming that GutMonkey puts on. So I feel that my natural inclination to these types of roles, coupled with this new challenge of this new industry, would be very enriching for me and a way for me to bring this sort of natural talent to these programs at GutMonkey. Working at GutMonkey seems to be a chance for me to, again, combine those natural talents that I have for speaking with groups of young adults and teens, and combining that with the travel that my wife and I are already doing. This could be a chance for us to travel to these program destinations, see the country, and get to experience the satisfaction of helping children who are in need through these programs. So to me, it's a win-win. I get to do something I'm good at and travel around the country and help some kids. So win-win-win.